What's up, guys? I am going to do a review on the latest episode of Hunter x Hunter. And here's the deal. The breakdown of it is I picked up the whole series from scratch about 2 to 3 weeks ago, and now it's bittersweet, but I have come to the end of the current latest anime episode, and it was very bittersweet, but I've caught up now, and so it's obviously bitter because it's kind of ending, and it's also sweet because I mean now I'm at the current stage, and so basically this is now going to be we're now going to revert to episode by episode reviews of each of the latest episodes of Hunter x Hunter. I believe they come very, very slowly, so it's like one every 2 weeks or something crazy. Maybe one every week if we're lucky. But yeah, just an announcement. This won't. This might be sporadic because obviously the episode release dates are very, long, and on top of that, you can't like once school starts for me, it's going to be really hard, and I might be forced to skip a few. And the reason why I'm doing this for this, rather than Naruto or Bleach manga chapter reviews, which I will do even if I'm late still, is because I mean there is a good showing for people watching these Hunter x Hunter videos, but again, I'm just choosing which one would possibly, hypothetically, be skipped if I have a tough week of school. And so this is a possible one of them, and it's not that bad because I mean, like, if they come so slowly, I can probably have time to do them eventually, anyways. If not, it's not a big deal. I mean, the episodes are still far behind the actual manga. So if they ever restart the manga, if you guys don't know, it stopped December 2012 and has not started up again. So if the author ever chooses to come back from hiatus, then I will switch maybe either solely to manga chapter reviews per week, or just do both episode and manga. So it's very bittersweet, and long story short, I mainly watched the anime, didn't really read much of the manga until a little bit, like I would say around episode 50. No, earlier than that. But up until that point, I wasn't really keeping up. But now, uh, I've been keeping up more or less, mainly less, with the manga as I watch the anime. So if you guys don't know the difference, again, anime is the animation, and manga is the panels. And for me, I've always been a manga fan because it's, you can guarantee it's canon, and anime it's always non-canon. Again, I might have those terms confused, but the point is, one comes from the direct creator's mouth and mind. The other is more of like a simulation, and that because of that, there's filler, and then there's sequences that don't actually match the manga in terms of plot, chronological order, which really bugs me. And that's one of the things that bugged me with this chapter. Like, I'm always very suspicious when watching just the anime only, because if some sequence of events does not work or make sense, like if it was in a manga, I'd just be like, okay, it's probably, it will be revealed in the future. But if I'm watching the anime, I'm like, is this filler, or is this the fault of the anime makers because they chose not to follow what the manga did? And so that was what happened. Again, first and final spoiler alert warning, but when Killua and Gon showed up with the two of them, I'm like, what just happened? Did we really just skip the entire fight? Was that planned in the manga as well, or did this just happen in anime? If so, I better go read the manga just to be sure that nothing fishy is going on. And by the way, is it manga or manga? I'm pretty sure it's manga, but I hate saying it that way because so many people say manga. So I mean, I don't know. Anyhow, overall, very good episode, and I've always been a manga fan rather than anime. but the one big thing is just fight sequences. They're so much better with the anime as opposed to the manga. That's for sure, especially for Hunter x Hunter. And they're just more brightly colored. Manga's black and white and gray, and then you got like you get the whole fight sequence rather than just panel by panel. And so that is again, I'm just going to do a little history, but that is what spurred me for the first time to switch from Naruto, one of the first manga I read. During the very first Sasuke versus Naruto fight, that big fight at the end of Naruto, the Naruto arc, and right before Shippuden started, that was what switched me over to watching the anime, because I've been reading manga up until that point, and I'm like, this fight sequence has been going on for 10 chapters. It would be so much better to at least watch the rest of it animated rather than this stupid panel by panel stuff. And then that's how I got into at least watching a little bit of animation. Anyhow, back to Hunter x Hunter. This is a review of the latest episode. Again, we will be doing episode by episode reviews rather than whole arc reviews now that I've caught up. But I don't want to say much because it's a very simple chapter. Gon, obviously, his technique, which he just quickly names Jan-Ken, full of holes. I mean, it seems like a worse version of the Kamehameha, and with the Kamehameha, at least you can speed it up with a little reduction in power if you wanted to. With this Jan-Ken, it's like always slow, like it constantly misses, and when it hits, like half the time, they never really, like, people keep saying that's so powerful, and yet when he lands it, sure, they splurt out blood and stuff, but it's not like a hole is blown through their body or anything like that. And I know they have aura to protect themselves, but still, that doesn't make it that powerful. It's still nowhere near like DBZ level power. So, like, sure, it's a unique technique. It's better than a stupid fishing pole, but at the same time, it has a lot of weaknesses, and I kind of want. I mean, I'm not hating on Gon or Killua. I think they're good characters, but why can't they have awesome abilities like what some of the other characters have, like that shadow technique and that smoke technique from the smoke guy? They both look awesome, and I'm referring to the 3 people who were sent in by the Hunter Association to take out the Chimera Ants. They have awesome techniques. Kaido's technique is, in my opinion, a little bit more awesome, and at the same time a little bit flawed. My prediction, and it might already be explained in the manga, probably not because Kaido is technically controlled, but my prediction is that Kaido chose that technique, that aura technique with the roulette system, because one of the 9 numbers is probably some insta-win weapon that cannot be stopped no matter how strong you are. And therefore, despite the risk of rolling 8 bad numbers compared to him, I mean, the roulette thing itself says it has no bad weapons, but for him, maybe that's why. Maybe because he's guaranteed one super strong weapon, to counterbalance that, he has to go through the possibility of getting 8 weak weapons. And so I'm pretty sure, well, I'm not pretty sure, but I'm predicting that maybe Kaido will survive, and through it he will one day, like maybe at the climax of the whole arc, and everything seems like very gloomy and everything's like about to fall apart, he rolls the number that gets like the ultimate freaking weapon. And I believe it's a 1 through 9 system. And by the way, in the anime, I mean, a lot of people are saying, how is that scythe a bad weapon? But in the anime, at least, when he rolled the scythe, just like all the other numbers, he said in the anime that it was a bad roll and a bad weapon. But I checked up on the manga for that same panel, and he didn't actually say that. It was phrased differently. He was just like, I did not want this weapon. So regardless, I think compared to him, whatever weapon is this like perfect weapon, it's so perfect compared to the other weapons. And personally, I think that scythe ability is ridiculous. I mean, if you only read the manga, read the anime, watch the anime for that moment when he uses the scythe a second time. Uh, Not on the first wave. That's the first time. The second time when he uses the wave again, and it's a time that pretty much forces the chimera ant that looks like a lion to retreat. That moment, it was ridiculous, and the manga, it didn't look as great. Basically, you see this entire forest, and then all this smoke just shoot out on top of the florist roof like a mushroom, and then it enveloped the whole forest, and then everything go into fog, and then you see like Kaido walking up with his freaking scythe. So I really think Kaido is a badass character. He has badass abilities, but he was beaten by this cat chimera. I mean, obviously the cat chimera is a lot stronger, but at the same time, can you at least have some good abilities? I mean, to beat Kaido, like you can't just. It just doesn't seem right beating him with as a freaking feminine cat. Sure, you can be a feminine cat, but use some badass abilities too. I mean, sure, we don't see a lot of it, but it seems like she has a lot of feminine abilities too. So, I didn't really like that part, but there you go. Finally, we have the Chimera Ant King, and he looks. I mean, the John Ken, at least in the anime, looks a lot like the Kamehameha, just like the way it was animated in the actual Hunter x Hunter anime. I mean, it's subject to interpretation, maybe not for you. But then I tried really, really hard not to, but the king, he looks like Cell. He he's very much in many ways like Cell, appearance, personality. Obviously, a lot of differences, appearance and personality still, but a lot of similarities too. The one big difference between him and Cell, personality-wise, is that Cell is more arrogant, more manly, a lot more arrogant, and just, I would say, just power-seeking and looking for worthy opponents. Whereas this Chimera Ant King, he's more like, I'm trying to get food, and I'm very ruthless and cold to anyone who in any way offends me or annoys me, and even if it is a fellow chimera ant. And so that's the kind of mentality he has. So it's not that, it's not really arrogant, it's just cold. So I don't know, a lot, very much like Cell, but I can tell, I'm guessing he's like, every chimera ant like usually resembles one animal. So this one looks like half snake, half like centipede tail or something like that. Hard to tell. But again, I don't know. Leave your thoughts and opinions, or if you know the answer, leave your answer. Is this really a copy of Cell, or what came first? If you have the answer to the research, let me know. Which arc came first? Was this Chimera Ant King released first, or was Dragon Ball Z and Cell released first? I mean, it's, for me, it's hard to tell. I know Hunter x Hunter has been going on for a while, but I mean, the chapter when the king was hatched was like 220 something, which was probably around 2010 or 2011, and I'm pretty darn sure Dragon Ball Z Cell came before 2010. So leave your thoughts. I think I would say there's at least a little bit of inspiration. I mean, this is a Japanese manga author. There's no way he hasn't heard about Dragon Ball Z, which is one of the biggest Japanese mangas of all time. So, what can I say? If I'm wrong on any of those things, feel free to let me know in the comments below. And so, great story, and I actually really liked the twist at the end with Gon and Killua not winning. At first I was very taken aback and angry, but those people who are constantly like that, like I know a lot of them in my real life, they don't read a lot of manga or read a lot of stories for the matter, and therefore the whole plot device of the good guys, the main characters, constantly prevailing and constantly winning out on the battlefield versus every bad guy, that to them is something brand new, fresh, unique, and thrilling in what they want. To me, it's the most generic cliche thing that's been done time and time again. So I'm very, very happy, after the initial frustration and anger, that Gon and Killua did not beat these guys, and what was expected did not happen. And so it's good, you know. The main characters shouldn't always win every single battle. That gets boring. And this would teach them a lesson. Killua will go out on his own, and Gon will go out on his own after this 30-day Zetsu releases itself. And quite frankly, in a lot of ways, I'm very happy about this. I mean, it seems like I'm a little bit sick of them and kind of want Leorio back. I don't want Kurapika back. Why? Because I don't really like her as a character. I mean, it's just her clothing. Her clothing is just like a freaking royal rag, like a box rag around her, and her hair is just very, very cartoony and not badass. Even though, I mean, sure, the chains were semi badass, but still, it's not that cool. But I want Leorio back, and finally, I think it would be a good lesson for Gon and Killua, so they don't always depend on each other. Finally, that's it. So like, favorite, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys later. And actually, final announcement, I'm gonna be reading the manga now. So right now, the latest episode 91, which I just watched, it ended on I would say chapter 220ish, and Hunter x Hunter, there's already been around 300 chapters released. So I would personally, I think I'm going to just, I can't wait. It's too good a manga. If I don't have time, great, but I might just end up watching or reading all the manga up until 300, which means I will know what happened for the next future episode reviews before they are released, because the manga's already out. So that kind of scratches the predictions part of my episodes, but I might still do them, I might not. And so I don't know, it really depends on if I really want to do them or watch them again, even though I already know what happens. And so it's kind of bittersweet, because this might be the end of my anime watching, as it was with Toriko. Because with Toriko, I just didn't feel like watching the episodes again, because I know what happens already, and it wasn't thrilling enough for me to rewatch it. And so I just switched over to a manga and never returned once I got to the end of the episodes. And those came so slow that I don't know. But at the same time, my episode reviews of Toriko are one of the most viewed on YouTube. But that might just be because of the misleading thumbnails. That wasn't intended. It was just Toriko. Put a picture of Toriko up, and people thought it's the episode, even though I clearly mentioned the first words review. However, I don't know. I hope you guys won't be offended if I don't do episode reviews anymore, but most likely I will be so spurred by the manga and the plot, as I always am, to make some video discussing what I've just read. So thanks for watching this entire 20-minute video. It shows you have a lot of respect. I mean, the typical click-through rate for YouTube watchers is like 1 minute, and then they leave the video. So thanks. Anyhow, I'll see you guys later. Subscribe and favorite and like.